I started back in 2015. I started as a receptionist here at Royal Flair. I knew absolutely nothing about caravans. I walked in my first day and it was this daunting kind of adventure I was on to begin with. I was very nervous, and then I met Pandor, which is Billy's dad, and immediately, within the first 30 seconds of speaking to him, he just made me feel at ease and at home. And it was through that relationship with Pandor himself that I knew that this is a place that I could see myself staying. And there was a beautiful relationship that I had with Bill, Angie, Peter, Raquel. They just made me feel at home. You know, I loved coming to work, and I still do every day. There are some challenges, but in all, over 10 years, I can say I love it. I love it as much as I did the first day, and you know, I'm blessed to be working with a family like the Doralis family. Feeling a part of something is very important for me, yeah? And they have made me feel like I'm a part of something great from day one. You know, they took this girl that was lost and that was looking for a purpose, and they've let me come into their family. They've embraced me and just let me run. The opportunities that I've been given to try new things, I've never kind of been pigeonholed into anything, is amazing. It's like the same relationship that I would have with my own family, yeah? What more can you ask for? You have your family, but you have another family that you love and care for just as much. And it goes to show in everything that they sort of do for you. You know, they look after you, they talk to you, they teach you. You're just a part of it. And I think it's what most people look for. It's to find their place where they fit in, and that's what Royal Flair is. You know, if you embrace it and embrace them, they embrace you back, and you're on this wild and wonderful journey throughout your time, you know. The milestone for me, I suppose, what it means to me is it's a celebration of the man that founded this business. He was a 1 in a million man. He deserves to be celebrated and remembered until the end of time. That's what the 50th means to me. Pandor was the most beautiful man in the world. He was a grandfather to me. Every day was a joy and a blessing to be with him, and having the opportunity to celebrate 50 years because he started it, he planted that seed, and that olive tree is still growing, yeah? So that's what it means. It's a celebration of him, to remember him, and to remember everything that he's done for us and the opportunities that he's given us.
So Daniel Selberg, CEO of Caravan Industry Victoria, association that's been around for 72 years, that in essence runs the caravan industry here in Victoria. Victoria is the heartland of caravan manufacturing, with 93% of all caravans and motorhomes and the like all produced right here in the state. So we are the heartland. In a way, indirectly, when I was at Windsor, I noticed Royal Flair and the products that they produced, the innovation and features they did, so it was like a competitor. But then my dealings with Royal Flair became when I went to the National Association and RVMAP, the accreditation program that I created. I came out and did audits. And then I started meeting with Billy and talking about compliance, which was a good conversation with Billy, but Billy was also very focused on standards and accreditation for the industry, and he would take pride in himself, but also then about educating the rest. So that were my first dealings, and then that grew into more actions and activities for the manufacturers, and Billy drove that a lot. And then when I moved across to the Victorian Association's industry development, Billy was on our board. and played a key role in driving the standards for manufacturers. So I had a lot of work with him about those standards and the definition of the dealer and how that works. And then our training and our training development. Billy's a director of our National Caravan Industry Training College, so he's a director in that as well. So obviously a lot in that. And then we've done a few journeys along the trip with Billy and his son and his dad, his late father as well. Yeah, it's and it is touching. We went over to Salt Lake City 2019 to RVX, and the American Association promoted this as this massive trade event for the American sector. America is the biggest producer of caravans and RVs. You know, a few years ago it was 600,000. We do about 50 here in Australia. You know, just a small fry compared to them. But it was the late Peter Delaris, the father. And then I'm thinking of a couple of other moments now that you make me think about this, but we travelled over to Salt Lake City. Billy booked the flights and we flew over together with Peter, the father, Billy and his son. It was their last trip together, and Billy knew that would be probably the last trip. And watching the three of them walk around a caravan expo, it was all indoors, it was freezing cold, but they got to live a dream of seeing overseas together. Is after the passing of Peter, Billy and I talked about putting him into our Hall of Fame for his contribution to the industry. And there's a process, goes through the board, but also we have our Life Members Hall of Famers review that, and they all gave the ticks. So that when on the night we were able to read it out, and then young Peter, which isn't so young anymore, but he's grown up into a big man, and what he's achieving in the business, was able to get up and do a speech. To see Billy and Angie see Peter deliver that, but also what Billy's dad had created in Royal Flair, was a pretty proud moment, which is what, as an association, we like to do, is put back to the people that contributed. So yeah, there's probably three moments that stand out. There's many more, many laughs, a few drinks, but that ties into the laughs and the good time. But it's really about those memories, that family, contributing to the greater good and contributing to the industry, that I always resonate with Royal Flair Caravans. The things that I remember about Peter Delaris, the father and the initiator of Royal Flair Caravans, and a couple of obviously other brands as a part of the journey and the history, but to all the way to the end, he was on the shop floor. He was helping people. He was sweeping up the clippings from the routering out of the windows and everything, encouraging everyone. Part of it, didn't want to give it up, but that was because it was in the blood. And they're touching moments that you look back on those pictures all the way through to the end. But they're those memories that you sit with. So, and obviously I didn't know him when he started. I knew him from dealing with over a decade ago now, but to then create Billy, which God help him, I don't know how he did, but created the brand and the business and the family that is Royal Flair, and the connection of family. The family bleeds through the whole business, and that's because of Peter. And that was what he was about. He was always about supporting people and helping them out, and any question you had, he would always be there to help. And that's obviously come out a lot more in Billy, in the personality that Billy is. But then don't shy away from Angie in the background as well, and what Angie brings in that bubbly personality and that infectiousness. But it's that whole family and that connection, and you just look back on that Peter, as the father of all this, obviously encouraged it, patted it, kicked it, pushed it, but let it flourish. And to see that as a part of the family of Royal Flair, because obviously my connection is a lot with Billy, but it's the whole production, and you see the passion. And I love it every year when they do a post about Peter and they show the picture in the frame, and the last couple of years they put the Hall of Fame the Hall of Fame trophy and the star of industry, which he was. That's it just for a moment allows you to think about it. But you walk in Billy's office now and you see it on the wall, you see it a part of even the 50th anniversary invitation. Congratulations to Billy, Angie and Peter and the whole Royal Flair team to get to 50 years. As we said earlier, as a part of business, it is phenomenal to get that far. And to do it in the caravan industry in 50 years is phenomenal. It's a reflection of, from the top all the way down for every single person that is behind us here in the shop floor, whether it be putting screws in a floor, whether it be to cleaning up and coming through at night, to selling the caravans, the dealerships, the partners, obviously then the supply chain, everyone that's connected to this business. For 50 years, it's a true reflection, and it's a moment that people in this business should stop and reflect on and cherish the moment of getting to 50 years. It's only just the start, but it's a massive achievement. It's something that everyone should be very, very proud of.
My name's Nat Chiavello from NCE. I've been in the industry since 1987, and I was blessed enough to meet the Royal Flair family in 1987. I was a young bloke with a clipboard and as a salesman, and I was told to go and see this company by the name of Royal Flair and meet this quiet gentleman by the name of Peter Duralis. And they said to me, you'll be lucky if you're able to get one word out of him. So off I went with my briefcase, came into this company by the name of Royal Flair and tried to introduce myself to Peter Duralis. As I was introducing myself to Peter Duralis, all I could see and all I could hear was this young bloke in the background making a noise. And for everyone to know, it was Billy. And Billy was a young bloke, but he was still a big bloke. Peter, for myself in our industry, he was very good for me, and the reason why Peter was so good for me was that he taught me a lot about this industry. In the 90s, Billy had more of a involvement in the Royal Flair business, and where Peter left, Billy took over. Billy also taught me a lot about this industry, and myself and my family, we owe a lot to Billy and to Peter. And the reason why we do is because Billy tried everything with us. He would say, Nat, whatever product you bring in, you bring to us and we'll do your R&D for you. In actual fact, in the early 2000s, and I thank Billy was the one that introduced my group to timber construction products. And the rest is history from the year 2000, what Billy introduced us to. Billy also was very proactive with the NCE business as well, and in actual fact there was a couple of times as well that Billy actually travelled overseas to enhance not only the NCE business or the Royal Flair business, but also the caravan industry in Australia by trying to innovate and look at products that were outside the square. We spent a lot of time overseas together, myself and Billy, and also interstate, looking at shows and looking at other products to see how we can bring our industry forward. And I think, hats off to Billy. I think we've done a great job with the innovation of the caravan industry where we are today. My biggest satisfaction in seeing the 50 years of Royal Flair is the evolution and the evolution of Royal Flair. From where they were, from building to this building here, it's so good to see how the family has evolved, not only as a family but also as a business. We talk about highlights and we talk about lowlights in our business, in our world of business, and unfortunately one of the lowlights that I experienced with Royal Flair was the day when myself and Billy sat down and Billy spoke to me regarding Peter's illness. It was a shock to the system. Billy being Billy and being confident and that he was, said it's just another thing that we've just got to deal with. Peter was a lovely man, and even through his illness worked very hard on the floor. And I think, as all European men do, it wasn't about Peter, it was always about the family. Peter showed strength and Peter showed for the family happiness, but you could see that it wasn't happiness for himself, of course, but he was always going to beat this. Unfortunately, the day came that Peter passed away through the COVID years, and it was tough for all of us, and especially for myself, because we couldn't get to Billy and the family to give them our condolences and to, give them a hug. But then Billy turned around and said to us, he said, "Nat, can you do me a favour?" And I said, "What's that?" He said, "We were just about to build our new building, which we're where we are today in Epping." And he said, "The funeral, we can't go to the funeral because unfortunately in those days there was only 10 people going to the funeral." And he said, "It'd be an honour if you could just stand in front of the new premises, and we'll drive the hearse past the premises." And you know what? That just opened up my heart, and I thought to myself, wow, what a send-off that we could give Peter, and that was the send-off that I gave Peter in those times. We talk about evolution of Royal Flair also, and it was funny that every time we go to a show, I always, don't know why, but I always look at the Royal Flair brand and always go on their stand. And 3 years ago, I walked on the Royal Flair stand and I thought to myself, wow, where did all this product come from? How did all this happen? It was the first time that I saw a stand with a caravan not for sale, not less than $100,000. And it was so good to see. Billy was sitting there and I couldn't even get to him because he was talking to so many people, doing so many deals. But what I did is that I walked through caravan to caravan, and I saw a couple in one of Billy's caravans. I walked in there and I heard in the background the lady talking to the husband and said, "What a caravan." And you know what she said? She turned around and she said, "This is how the other half must live." What a compliment to give to the Royal Flair brand. One thing that I may say regarding the 50 years of the Royal Flair business is that Royal Flair's always been consistent. They haven't gone to chase numbers, to chase product because of a competitor or whatever. They've always built within their beliefs, and they've always built what their consumer requires. If a consumer has asked for a particular style of caravan, they would do their homework, they would do their due diligence, R&D, and that's what they would build. They stick to their beliefs, and that's why the 50 years is so powerful for Royal Flair. Well, one thing that I would really like to say, personally to Billy, Angie and the family, is congratulations on such a great milestone. Billy, your father's left a magnificent legacy for you and your family moving forward, and I can see the traits that you're doing to leave the same legacy for your family as well. Congratulations to you all, and happy 50th birthday.